Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back after Thanksgiving. My name is Alan Smason, and I want to welcome everybody once again to NOLA Theater Talk. This is broadcast since the pandemic began. We have started this group up, the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. We broadcast to them. We broadcast to our theatercriticism.com Facebook page, which is for social media, from the website theatercriticism.com, as well as my own YouTube channel. And you can check out these broadcasts there. They're all archived on that YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. Again, before we get started tonight, we have two halves of the program, and we're going to start with our first half in just a second. But I did want to remind everybody about an event that's going to be coming up this coming Friday night around 7:15. It's going to be live streamed. They are going to meet in public, but they're more or less asking people who are outside of the community at Touro Synagogue to plan on coming via live stream. But that's going to be for George Dansker's group that he does. He does a Jewish composer series. This year it's Harnick and Bach, and he's going to do some songs that had been cut from Fiddler on the Roof, among other things. So if you are a Fiddler on the Roof fan and want to hear songs done by some wonderful singers and with some really great information provided by George, who's the lecturer, this will be about 7:15, and this is where you're going to go, tourosynagogue.com/live stream. And if you check that out, you will be able to be a part of that broadcast that they're going to have and experience it for yourself. So I'm just telling you again, I'll repeat this again towards the end of the show tonight in case I had some people come in late, but I thought that was kind of important. I just found out about it within the last day or so. And again, in the past, because of COVID, they've been de-emphasizing visitors, so now they're letting people come via virtual live streaming, and that means that you can be there just as much as anybody there. Okay, tonight we are talking about two shows that are coming up in the next week or so. They're going to be opening, and we wanted to let everybody know about their imminent opening. The first is going to be the Scottish play, and I'm afraid to say I'm going to probably drop the name, despite the fact that you're not supposed to say it. But the main character, of course, in the Scottish play is Macbeth. So I've said it. There you go. I'd like to welcome the artistic director of Fat Squirrel Productions, who is also starring as Lady Macbeth. Let's say hello to Andrea Watson.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me.
And again, if anybody hears something in the background, that is them performing, rehearsing the very same Macbeth that we were talking about earlier. So,
yeah, I'm actually backstage at the Fortress of Lushington right now. You can see all the the lumber and sundries behind me. You'll probably hear in just a couple minutes the cries of Lady Macduff as she and her children are murdered, as they're rehearsing that scene right on the other side of the.
So now how long have you been rehearsing?
We started rehearsals for this right after, as Canopic was running. So we've been rehearsing since October, late October.
Yeah. So that was the last piece that you had at Fortress of Lushington, Justin Maxwell's, the Canopic. The
Canopic Jar of My Sins,
and I'm going to leave it
a medieval morality play for latter-day postmodernists.
Yeah, it's a long title, but and a lot going on there. Again, we wanted everybody to know, in case you want to leave a comment today. We always ask everybody to more or less make themselves available to Facebook by going to StreamYard and letting StreamYard know, which is the platform that we have here, that it's okay to use your real name. And if that's the case, then all you have to do is go to the spot here that I'm gonna mention here, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and that will allow your name to show up. If not, it's going to show up as Facebook user. So if you want your real name to show up, that's what you want to do. So we invite comments throughout the show. I'll try to put them up as they come in. Anybody watching out there, we would welcome to get their comments or perhaps any questions they may have about what's going on. So Macbeth, of course, everybody knows, one of the more famous Shakespeare plays.
Certainly.
This is the first one that Fat Squirrel has taken on, though. is this going to be something that you all, have done a lot of original works that were done, like at the one act play that you did, the group there, and then of course you had oh goodness gracious, the four names I'm trying to remember.
Fish, Sass, and Vi.
Right. Yes, and that was one that was done several years ago by I guess it was a British playwright, and she's passed on now. She's I think she's been gone about 10 years, about a decade or so. But it was still very vibrant, still very much resonated for me in terms of that. And again, you did a new play by Justin, as we said earlier, which was a little hard to explain about all of what was going on with that. But again, original work. So this is really the first Shakespeare work. Is that something that you're intending to do with Fat Squirrel, to do some of these more traditional works as well?
So it sort of was coincidental that we did our first season was the original short pieces, and as our first production, Festival in June, and then Fish, Sass, and Vi, which actually has not been done to my knowledge in the city, and then that new piece, and then this classic. So it kind of worked out just coincidentally and very nicely that there's kind of something for everyone in this season. I have thought about in thinking about programming future seasons, having a classical piece in each one.
Well, I mean, something like Doll's House, or maybe Chekhov or something like that would not be beyond the realm of your possibilities. It's just getting your actors together and doing it. And if anything, if anything, I mean, Chekhov, which is kind of interesting because they just did, of course, the Seagull. Over, of course, a new version by Gabrielle Reisman over at, I think that's Macduff's wife being murdered. Yes.
It is. Lady Macduff was just stabbed in the gut. Yep.
Yes. So the thing is that we'll be talking later on today to the people of the NOLA Project. They just did Chekhov for the first time that I know of, and it's something that was a big. I guess you might say one of those wish lists, bucket lists, whatever that AJ Allegra had and was able to fulfill finally, even though it wasn't the original Chekhov. I mean,
it was an adaptation by Gab,
but a lot of it based on the original. And again, I think it counts still, as a work reflective of Chekhov, if nothing else. So again, Shakespeare is not an easy read for a lot of people to just jump into it, and of course you've got in the title role, if you will, an eminent actor, Dane Rhodes. Now, how is it that you secured his services, and how is it that he's not working in film right now?
Well, Dane and I have been artistic collaborators and artistic partners for the entire time I've been doing theater. So we are at upwards of 20 years now. So we actually have collaborated on a lot of things. And this was one of those pieces, speaking of bucket lists, like the other pieces that were programmed in our first season. This was a piece that Dane and I have talked about doing together for a very long time, talking about playing Mac and Lady Mac. I'll refrain from saying it because I actually am in a theater. Right. But playing Mac and Lady Mac together has been something that we've talked about for a really long time. So that when the time came around, he said, "I'm there."
Well, again, I cannot imagine how long it takes to go through this. I know that they did a King Lear there not too long ago, right? Wasn't it
at the Fortress?
Wasn't it King Lear that?
I believe so. Bunny and I actually were talking about that recently.
Yeah, and so it is something that, but it is a small space, and
it is,
and I would imagine that some of those themes you have to be very creative in the way that you adapt it. So
the concept actually is we're setting the play in 19th century 5 Points Manhattan. So if you're familiar with the movie, Gangs of New
Gangs
York.
of New York? Yes, I do.
I think that time period. Okay. And part of the concept of the show is that actually when Macbeth makes a decision, a choice that that moves him closer to the throne, to the crown, his world actually gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So actually, as the play progresses, the playing space itself, we're actually moving it in more constricting throughout the piece. So the fortress is actually the perfect place for it, because rather than the rolling moors of Scotland, we're in the alleyways and the cramped confines of 5 Points Manhattan.
And again, you've got a pretty good cast. Like I said, I mentioned Dane, of course, but I noticed a number of people. I wanted to try to find your email. I know you already had sent me the poster earlier today. And I went to go back and look for it, but for some reason I couldn't find it. And I'm going to go back and look while I'm talking with you. But I wanted to take that poster because you've got a pretty good group of actors.
Got a great group of actors,
including is it James Wright is in it?
Yep, and, who we last saw in Festival with us in June.
And I mean, you've got
Desiree
about 12 people or so that are in it, huh?
Michael Sullivan, Desiree Burrell, who we saw in Deuce of Fish, Stass and By. We've got Mary Bliss McCrossan, who actually hasn't been on stage in quite some time, but when I played Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire, directed by Perry Martin, Mary Bliss played Blanche.
Yeah.
So she and I have a really nice history together on stage as well. So she's playing Lady Macbeth.
I did find. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add this to the equation, if you will, and it's got all the dates, etc. You're opening on the 7th of December, and you're gonna go every night except for Saturday, right?
Every night except
7th,
Saturday
8th,
the 10th.
9th, not the 10th, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, right?
Correct.
So,
yep. Okay. And 7 p.m. curtains.
So okay, and
which we find is nice on a school night.
Do you know who PW is?
I bet you that's Paul Werner.
I think so too. He never puts his name up there, but yes, that's him. I'm certainly break a lot of legs. It's going to be a lot of legs there. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull up this this lovely picture that you gave me. And now, again, posters don't always work on TV or on this kind of thing. But let's see if it'll pull up, and then I can show everybody what we've got here, and then hopefully it'll give us an idea about just who's in the cast, and we can just go over it real quick. Yeah, and like I said, I apologize for not having it, but I was looking for it earlier today, and because this is 2 different emails, apparently it's from your other email, your professional one anyway. So here we go. That's it.
There it is.
So here we go. You've got Dane, Lady Mac, as you said, since you're there. Desiree, who was
Desiree is one of the women who's playing a traditionally male role. She's actually playing Macduff.
Ah, okay.
And so the final showdown between Macduff and Mac, with Dane and Desiree driving that, is intense.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Now, Ryan is playing who?
Malcolm.
Okay. And Tracy is playing Tracy Elliott?
Tracy's actually playing Ross, and also who is one of the witches. We actually extended the coven in this production. Traditionally, there's 3 witches. We actually have, I believe, 6, and actually Lady Macbeth is a witch in this production.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. Tracy actually worked on one of our readings back during the COVID days. So I'm familiar with her work as well. Lauren,
Anjali and Lala, and Mary and Bethany. So all 5 of those ladies right in a row. And then Katie on the end. That is my coven of witches.
Okay. And then I mentioned James, and you mentioned Michael. And Joe Signorelli. Now, what has he been in?
He's pretty new to the scene. I'm not sure what he's done, but I know I've been in communication with him about some productions earlier in the season too.
Yeah, I remember. I thought he might have been in one of those productions I saw earlier in the. I guess it was been about the summer, but I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to say the wrong thing as far as that goes. So, but his name does look familiar, and I thought he might have been in a particular production I saw this summer. So we'll see. In any event, that's the whole ball, and you know, and essentially everything you're going to be doing. And now, as I remember, you announced your season. But the season ended with this play, right? With the Scottish play.
Correct.
So does that mean that you're going to have a new announcement for the remainder of what will be 2023 coming up?
So actually, this is the end of the season. If you recall, our season began in June. Our first full production was in June. We did a reading series in April. But I actually made that decision to run our seasons from about April and June through December, because Mardi Gras and festival season are such a hurdle to overcome, doing theater and you know, getting folks to commit to a longer schedule. They have to give up a lot of things during some really like beloved times in our city, and it's nice to be able to tell folks that, you know, no, you don't have to miss muses for rehearsal because we're not doing a show during Mardi Gras. So.
Understood. Well, I understand. Since you were doing the Scottish play, I decided to have some scotch tonight. And in case you were wondering, it's a big. You see that size of that cube there?
I do. It's beautiful.
It's a huge square cube that I have. Anyway, so I know some of the Scotch enthusiasts would probably go, what did you do to that 16-year-old Scotch? But I did do it, and so there you go. Aberfeldy. It's you know, so that's what I had. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew I was relaxing and chilling and doing all that sort of things, but I'm doing it with Scotch tonight because in honor of the Scottish play. So
well, I'm honored. And I actually, keeping with tradition, the tradition of your show, I went into the leftover concessions that are still here from Canopic Jar.
Oh, okay.
And I got a room temperature high noon to have.
Oh, okay.
So I have a room temperature vodka seltzer in a can that was leftover concessions from our last show.
So will your next season in 2023 start in April?
Probably with this, not with a full production in April.
Okay.
But maybe a smaller project, something that's more along the lines.
We should expect the second half of the year, calendar year, for your shows to run.
Yes.
Now, also, I before we get back onto and again, I guess let me see, we got there we go, the perfect Christmas play. If you're on the naughty list, I thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yes. It's a feel good family show.
Well, it could be worse. I guess it could be Titus Andronicus. So that would be a little bit more bloody. But I wondered, you know, we were talking about. I love all the sounds behind. I'm going, what did I do? But you know, I wondered about you know, starting up again. What you're going to be doing? Have you got any inclination as to what you're looking to do, or you know, in terms of next season? I mean, what would be on a wish list maybe that you'd let everybody know that we should?
There are some thoughts. There are some projects that I actually was not involved in, but that some people that are very dear to me had kind of going that got interrupted by COVID, and it's not for sure yet. So I don't want to really hint at anything. But that is something I'm looking at. Is, you know, I've got some friends who didn't get to do their projects because of COVID, and if we can make that happen in season 2, that would be wonderful.
And the other place that you had done a couple of the presentations, Deuce and Fish, etc., and Festival, was at a new place that had not really been used for theater before, right?
No, it's at Bryant Park. It's in the CBD. It's across the street from the old Dino's, where, you know, Dane and Michael Sullivan and I would just, you know, sit and drink all the time. But it sounds like it's very green, but it's actually a building. It's not, you know, Bryant Park is actually is it a chain, or is it just named after? The owner's name is Bryant.
Oh, I got it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just wondering if they named it after a particular place or whatever. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, really nice. And they've got I'd say bar food down below, and upstairs is where the play space is. And I know it was a little challenging at times to do plays up there, but you pulled it off, and I thought that the works were done as well as could be expected, and especially for your first year, you'd be congratulated. A lot of very, very hard work went into it, and I know
thank you, Alan. I really appreciate all the support that you've
No.
you've shown
I mean, anybody who didn't get to go see Deucid, Fish and Stas, and Vi, right?
That was it. Nailed it.
It really missed out on a wonderful work, and I love Justin and his comedic sense of what he does. So sort of the absurd that he goes for, and I thought that you all did an excellent job with that as well. So and not to downplay any of the others, the Bestival, it's a very, very good little plays that they did. And let a lot of people start to sort of stretch their artistic muscle, in terms of the play acting, because let's face it, for a better part of 2 years, people were locked up and they couldn't go anywhere, and many of us were dying to go inside a darkened theater and see theater presented again, see and connect to it, and that's so important for at least some of us. Some of us, we're okay with it, but it was. I kept telling everybody when I was asked, what will stop you, or what will keep you from going out, I said a closed door. Give me an open door and I'll be there. So, basically, we got through that period. It was not exactly easy, but things look much brighter now. And again, I'm hoping that things will work out for you. Let me get back to the Scottish play again. The 7th is when you open. Are you having any industry nights for people who are maybe not as well endowed right now, looking to save a little something if they're in the community for theater?
Tickets. We actually have the same tiered ticketing system we had for Canopic Jar. We have for this as well. So tickets, actually every night there's a $20 ticket available. And then there's 2 other tiers. There's a $35 tier, and then our patron tier is $100. And there's no difference between any of the tickets. It's just if you're able to, and wanting to support the arts because it's been so long, and you're one of those people that's like, I want to invest in the community. We've actually had several people graciously purchase that patron tier ticket. A lot of people digging a little deeper past that $20 to go to the $35. And what that does is it allows us to be able to offer the $20 ticket every single night, rather than just maybe, a couple nights here and a couple nights there. So the idea is no one should be excluded because of socioeconomic barriers. So we ask the people who don't have those barriers to shoulder a little more of the load, so that anybody who wants to be a part of the Fat Squirrel family by joining us in the audience can do that.
And that's where they can go, right there, right? Fat Squirrel NOLA.square.site. And hopefully, if they go there, they can make their own determination as to what they can afford, and if they can afford a little bit higher ticket value, become a patron. That's fine. What about your first year? I mean, I'm sure that it's been a little tough to get this off and running. How about grants and things of that sort? Are you appealing right now or applying for any grants?
Well, we actually don't have nonprofit status right now. Everything just kind of moved so quickly that the nonprofit status has not been a box I've checked yet, but it's on the to-do list. So that's possibly on the horizon.
So fundraising galas and things of that sort would not be able for people to get a tax write-off, so to speak, if they
right.
So that is important. of course, with that also comes a board who you have to answer to. So I understand. I've had that problem as well. But you know, I feel like sometimes your artistic integrity being what it is, you have to do what you need to do, and if sometimes you are not able to give people a tax write-off in order to support you, then you just dig into your own pocket and you just take care of whatever you need to do.
Sure do.
I mean, that's what happens. So nobody else is giving us money to do stuff normally. So okay, I appreciate that. And again, December the 7th. Let me go ahead and throw up that picture of the cast again. Dane Rhodes and you as Lady Mac, and obviously, you know, Mr. Mac, as it were, Lord Mac, and then of course all the other cast members that we've got up there who are going to be portraying all the various characters. And again, I want everybody to look at the dates again: December the 7th through the 16th, every day except the 10th.
Correct.
So it should say December 7th through the 9th, and then 11th through the 16th. So if you think it's going to be on the 10th, don't go there on the 10th, please, because you will be disappointed. And again, it's at 2215 Burgundy, as we like to say in New Orleans. What I would tell people is if they go to Burgundy and Elysian Fields, you're pretty much there. So you don't have to go anywhere else, and that'll take care of that. So again, I encourage everybody to check that out, to do what they can to support the arts, to support your company. I can't wait to see Dane do this role. You know, he's such a tremendous actor, and
yes,
I can well imagine that he's going to more than fill the bill. And you as Lady Macbeth sounds also quite pleasing. I'm happy that you were able to take the time out today. Are we getting close to one of your acts where you'll have to be reappearing one of your scenes yet, or?
We're not close quite yet. Macduff is, as you can hear in the background, is just learning about his family's death.
Okay.
So, yeah, my next scene is Act 5, Scene 1, which actually maybe next. But
well, we're gonna let you get going in a little bit, because we don't want to stop the play from being seen by everybody and your practice going on. But we do appreciate you taking the time out. As I mentioned earlier to you and a lot of people who might not know, Andrea Bocelli is going to preempt Stepping Out this week, so I don't have an opportunity to promote the show this week. And you will actually have opened the night before the next time I'm back on Stepping Out. So I thought it was important to talk about this. It also will be that the next show that we're going to be promoting, the NOLA Project, that their Craigslisted is going to be opening as well prior to my being able to see it. So again, I appreciate both of you being able to come into the show tonight and take a look and say hello and give us some insight on that. And again, I want everybody to know that there's a lot of shows that are opening up, a lot of holiday shows. We'll talk a little bit about that maybe towards the closing. But again, Andrea, break legs. And
thank you.
If you have to, go outside and run around the theater and spit 3 times in the circle. I don't know all the different curses that there are associated with saying the name of the play, inside the theater. But I know that there are many people who have it all down. Do not do that ever. So
no, my co-director is one of them.
Okay. And by the way, mention who the co-director is, because
Stephanie Garrison,
okay.
my dear great friend who actually was on your show. She was the dramaturg for Canopic Jar, and she came on and she spoke with you and Justin about that production, and she also was a playwright in Festival. So she's been really, really involved in this season, and she's her knowledge of Shakespeare and particularly this play is encyclopedic.
Okay.
And
well, I will look forward to seeing it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to email you and let you know what day I'm coming. But again, thank you very much, Andrea Watson. And again, I'm going to give another quick shout out to everybody. This is where you go to see Macbeth. Write it down, Fat Squirrel NOLA Square.site. And again, Andrea, thank you for being with us tonight. And
Thanks,
we'll we'll bring in our next guest in just a second. But first, we have to do the most important thing when we do that is to essentially change our brand, and we're going to move from Fat Squirrel to the NOLA Project, and then add our co-artistic director. There she is, Brittany Williams. Welcome back one more time to NOLA Theater Talk. And again, I want to first off congratulate you on the last show that you all did, which was, of course, the Seagull, How to Eat It, written by Anton Chekhov and Gabrielle Reisman, or maybe adapted through Gabrielle Reisman. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
But again, I do want to thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's last minute. I talked to Keith, who does a lot of your marketing and public relations, and I said, we're not going to have an opportunity to really promote this show before stepping out. It caught me by unawares because, essentially, Thanksgiving was on. I did this little scout hike that I do, an interfaith hike every year called the 10 Commandments hike. And I was busy coordinating that. And all of a sudden I looked up, I said, oh, we're not on next week and I can't promote these shows. And you all are getting ready to open. And I said, oh my goodness, we have to do something about that. So first off, you are in a position where you can talk about, seasons and things of that sort. But I did want to find out from you a little bit about the playwright for this, because I'm not familiar with her. Craigslisted is the name of the show. And again, those of you who are interested, it is a fairly new work, right? I mean, this is
it is.
Do you know the history of it and a little bit about it that I can glean some information from you?
The play is by a new Black woman playwright, Sheree Bohannon. We actually did a reading of the play as part of our rough drafts a couple years ago. Right. Yeah. So it's really great to be able to kind of see the play full cycle from reading at the NOLA Brewery all the way to a full production at Loyola. Sheree is an amazing playwright. She's also a pop culture critic. She hosts a couple podcasts, including a horror podcast. And this play, I want to say, was written back in 2015. So it's 2015 seems like ages ago now, considering the past few years we've had.
Understood.
Yeah, but it's a really fun, really interesting dark comedy. We're excited to have it in the pre-Christmas slot because there's going to be so much family entertainment. It'll be nice to have something for the grown-ups to see without their kids.
It's set in 2015, and of course, back in 2015, Craigslist was I guess a little bit more of an item that people were going to on a regular basis. I'm not sure if that's really the case now. What do you think?
It's not. So back in 2015, Craigslist was the only game in town besides actually going to the classifieds in a paper. And now there are so many other options that have just kind of popped up. People can go on Facebook Marketplace, or you can just tweet stuff out or post stuff on Instagram. It's just the internet has grown exponentially in the 7 years between when this play takes place and now. Craigslist is still out there. People are still trading stuff and, posting things and acquiring things and making friends on Craigslist. So it hasn't disappeared. It just isn't, it isn't what it was back then. So
it did have a bad reputation, though, did it not? From having a bit of, if not human trafficking, then some human opportunities that were available that were maybe circumventing some of the legal aspects of of propriety.
It was both the best and worst of the internet. So and our play deals with a little bit of that, of how when you open yourself up to strangers, you get the good, and you get the horrible, and you get the kind of meh in between. So it's an exciting and dangerous game that our main character Maggie is playing as she starts answering these personal ads that she finds on Craigslist.
I do have they only really sent me one picture, so I do have one picture. I'm not sure that it tells you, exactly everything that you need to know about what's going on. But I will post it for everybody to see in all of its glory, and you can tell me whether or not it tells you anything other than the fact that you see 3 characters there. So
yeah, these three characters, we have Maggie in the middle, and then we have her 2 best friends, Robin and Haley. They're all college students. Maggie is an extremely, extremely, extremely broke college student who's gotten to the point where she doesn't want to ask her friends for any more money. When we first meet her, her power is being turned off because she hasn't paid the bill in so long. And it's both pride and shame that has her decide to start answering these personal ads on Craigslist to earn enough money to support her college life. So yeah, we see the 3 best friends here. And
now that's Emily Bagwell, right, on the left.
Yes, and Arya Jackson in the center, and Mariola Chalice on the right.
Okay, so Mariola Chalice on the right, and again, I have to ask. The NOLA Project has its group of people who are part of the company, who the ensemble, I guess. Are these people now part of the company, or are they just actors who are just being hired for this particular role and they're not ensemble members?
They are not ensemble members. We do have ensemble members who are in the show, but we aren't. It's not unusual for us to hire people outside of the ensemble.
Right.
A lot of our ensemble, I'll be honest, we're a little long in the tooth to be playing college students. So
okay,
when it comes to younger roles, we've recently been casting outside the ensemble. So you remember Arya, she was also in our production of Mean Girl, the African Mean Girl play.
African Mean Girl play. Yeah, that was really wonderful.
Yeah.
And again, the dialects I thought were superb.
Yeah, they did really excellent work in that. So we're really happy to be working with Arya again.
And I remember seeing Emily back. Her father, of course, is a fairly well-known TV reporter, and so I knew him through the press club, etc. And when she first started out, she was doing a little bit of the plays at UNO, but she was also doing choreography, and she's quite an outstanding choreographer. So I'm always looking to see when people are multi-talented like that, that I can see them showing off what they do best, which is everything better than me. That goes up. So Brittany, you read this play. Where did you find it? I mean, in other words, there's not a new play network that we had down here when Southern Rep was very big. Right. So where do you get these new plays from? I mean, how do you look for them? How do you find them, etc.?
So it's funny that you mentioned a new play network because AJ found this play before I joined the NOLA Project, before I became co-artistic director. And he actually found it on the National New Play Network, which is a digital archive of new works, works that have been performed, works that have only been workshopped. And so we actually frequent that website to find new pieces to either produce for our rough drafts readings or to produce within our season. And so he found Craigslisted. They did the rough drafts reading of it. And when we were deciding on what we wanted to do for the 2022-2023 season, this play came up again, and it's just, I loved it reading it. I thought it was great. I love how it ends. I love the strange characters that we meet. I love the heroine or our lead and the journey she goes on. Craigslist was a a trip. So it's nice to it's interesting to revisit that, especially considering what the internet has since become, and the chaos that we now find ourselves in with all the different social media platforms and all the information we have around each other. I really like that the play deals with privacy, with what we're willing to risk of ourselves for pleasure or for money, and just the question of who in odd situations like this, who is exploiting who, and
okay, yeah.
So
I got it.
It deals with so much stuff that's really, relevant, and has only become more relevant as time has passed and the internet has grown and expanded.
I like also Craigslist, is a proper noun, and it becomes a verb in its play, right? You're Craigslisted, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
I mean, but it was at the
showed
time.
you earlier when you were not here yet, but I think you may have seen. I had my scotch because of the Scottish play that we had. So I didn't know what you brought in, because everybody likes to know what everybody's bringing in.
Well, it's late and it's past my baby's bedtime, so I have water in my Yoda meditation water bottle.
And which brings me to a very interesting question. You did get published in a Star Wars anthology of sorts, right? It was so you did, and didn't you get something else published in recent times?
Yes. So that actually, it's coming out April 25th. It is, I have a copy right here.
Have a copy there.
It is a young adult novel called That Selfsame Metal. It is about a 16-year-old girl who wants to use her metal shaping magic to build swords and choreograph fights for William Shakespeare's acting company. But when malevolent fae get released into the city of London, she finds that she's one of the only people who can protect her home from this new threat. So
very nice.
Thank you.
This is a new, I would say, cottage industry almost, for you in terms of the writing aspect of it. I mean, and if anybody has not heard you sing, you're a marvelous singer, and the longest serving, as I like to mention, 3 years running due to COVID, but still the longest serving stage door idol. And you know what? The new stage door idol is Equator Cavalier. She was very good. She was great when she was performing. But you really, really knocked the socks off everybody when you did your final performance. I don't know what that was. I can't remember, but it was so good. And it was a very rarely performed piece too. I don't remember who it was. You told us who it was, but fantastic work though. I mean, so, not only again, you do so many things so well and so much better than me. So I can always, yes, I worship at the altar, but I know I really appreciate the fact that, you have all of that energy. And, I think that, I think it was George Bernard Shaw said that youth is wasted on the young, but in your case, you're making good use of it. Okay. So very good. So let me just ask again, what you can reveal about Craigslisted. When does it open? When is the opening for it? Is it
so we have our first performance on the 1st, and that is a special performance where all tickets are $10. And then we officially open on the 2nd. Right. And we run until December 17th.
Right. And again, the place that you're having it is?
It's the Marquette Theater at Loyola.
Okay. So this is the first, is this the first time y'all are at Marquette for? I'm trying to remember.
No, we were at Marquette for Mean Girls.
For the Mean Girls.
For Schoolgirls, Mean Girls play. Right. And we were also there for our summer program.
Okay. All right. So, but again, I know that Crescent City Stage has been using it as well. So it seems like a lot of people are using Loyola. Sometimes I wonder if Loyola ever uses it, but they just did a production of Sarah Rule's play that they did about weeks ago, and they also had the Mad Ones that was done, the musical that I thought was really super. So I mean, I'm glad to see them, doing their thing too, as well as being able to open up their doors to outsiders. And again, the first is you said it's $10 tickets for everybody, sort of like the final dress. Is that kind of what it is?
It's kind of the a preview performance, a shout out to any broke college students who may want to come see the show.
I got you. Right.
Since the play is about a broke college student, we really wanted to extend a hand.
I got you. And again, the second, that was what I was figuring was the opening, the second. And again, through the 17th, as you said. Now, are there nights that you're not going to be performing?
Yes, there are. The show doesn't run every single night. Let me make sure.
I'm assuming no Monday and Tuesday nights, probably, or maybe not Wednesday, but maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes. So we run let's see, Thursdays, Fridays, and Thursday through Saturday.
Right.
Except for the final weekend, then we are Wednesday through Saturday.
Cool. Okay. So there you have it. Okay. Now, I asked about the ensemble group for the NOLA Project. And again, do you all have a set number of people who are ensemble members, and how many of them are out of town still, or are they all, part out of town, part in town?
So basically all of our active ensemble is in town. We have some folks who are like ensemble emeritus when they move out of town, and we've had a lot of people move in the past couple years. And then we are still constantly inviting new people. We've actually added 2 new ensemble members, Tanaj Jackson, who you may know. She does a lot of work with the Radical Buffoons, and she directed Schoolgirls or the African Mean Girls play. And also Grace Keith, who was our stage manager for Schoolgirls or the African Mean Girls play. And she also was one of our stage managers for The Seagull or How to Eat It. So we're very happy to have them added to our ensemble number. And we're always on the lookout for folks who we love working with and who we'd love to invite into our little NOLA Project family.
Is there a key that somebody would like to know how to get into the NOLA Project, as far as I mean, what is it that you all are looking for?
So basically we are right now we're looking for folks. You have to have worked with us at least 2 times, or you have to have worked with us once and worked with an ensemble member who can kind of I don't want to say vouch for you, but who can vouch for you. We look for people who are professional, who are enthusiastic about theater, enthusiastic about their art, enthusiastic about their work, people who are committed to collaboration, people who are interested in doing creative theater, innovative theater, and just people who align with our mission and our values. So again,
the NOLA Project started up more or less. The genesis of it was in New York's Tisch School, and a number of the actors decided to come down along with Andrew Larimer, who was the original artistic director, or the way I remember it, right before Hurricane Katrina. They came down in 2005, and they stayed, which defies explanation. But they have made themselves, one of the more, if not just interesting, one of the more, I would say, productive companies in terms of producing without a brick and mortar theater. They have done everything from Stephen Sondheim's Assassins to works at the New Orleans Museum of Art on several occasions inside the Great Hall at the museum, as well as now in the Sculpture Garden for now 10 years. And if I'm not mistaken, I think memory serves, they're going to redo A Midsummer Night's Dream again this coming year. So that will be a repeat, if you will. But that was a wonderful production that they did, and I remember it still to this day of them using that water area by the amphitheater that they had, where they would have the actors. I said, this is everywhere, you know. They did the Alice in Wonderland out there at the Sculpture Garden, which had 3 different treks, and you know, you could either follow the Red Queen or Alice, you know, that was the red and the blue track, or you could stay stationary where you were, and it was the green track. And people who didn't want to have to follow all the other characters, just, you know, marvelous casting. Plus a number of very interesting plays. McDonough, I guess, is their favorite, maybe Martin McDonough, because they've done so many of his works. The Behanding in Spokane, and the Lieutenant of, I want to say Inishmore, but it might be Inish something or other, but you know, whatever. And the Cripple of Inishmore, the Cripple of something, whatever, one of those. Anyway, all of those plays, fantastic stuff, you know, being done, and we've seen so many great actors come out of it as well. Some of who have left town, as you mentioned, some of who are here, and I mean, you mentioned Radical Buffoons. James Bartell, you know, has been a major influence, and he's, you know, been with the NOLA Project, but he's also had Radical Buffoons. So, you know, you've got a lot of talent there, and I said earlier that I consider them the young lions of theater, you know, when they first were here, or the young Turks maybe, but you know, now they're sort of the seasoned, not necessarily stay-in lions, but you know, they're the people who are, you know, consistent, and they're always doing, you know, really, really wonderfully inventive things. I want to say though that the director for this project, Craigslisted, is one of the best singers and one of the best directors around. Great actors. Although she may like to be called an actor, I don't know. You never know nowadays. You know, you never know what person's pronouns unless you ask, and never know which way they want to be referred to, and an actor or an actress. But you know, Leslie Clavery is just, you know, a really wonderful talent, and I'm wondering, have you been able to find any time to talk with her about what she's doing with the show, or you know, have you expressed an interest in finding a little bit more about how she's approaching being a director with this?
So I haven't had a chance to. It's been a very quick rehearsal process, so I actually won't be able to get into to see it until the 2nd.
Okay.
But I trust Leslie implicitly. I know that she's doing a great job. All of the feedback from the actors that I've gotten and seen has been extremely positive. Everyone's just really excited to be working with her and to be under her guidance. And I believe in Leslie and her talent and her skill enough that I don't feel the need to just check in or micromanage. I know it's going to be excellent.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it. And of course, Keith has won several awards, her husband, but you know, she's done all right herself too, you know, on the awards category. So again, that's a great powerhouse team. You know, I dare say, you know, they're you know, akin to the Hugh Cronin and Jessica Landy couple of, if you will, in New Orleans. You know, the people who have been around now and they've established their criterias. People know their talent, etc., and can go to them. I would love to, you know, to talk to both of them one Monday night. I've already told them and extended them an offer to please come on the show, and yet it has fallen on deaf ears, I'm sorry to say. But one of these days,
well, you
I don't
got
know
them
when.
they're
one
both
of these
in
days, I
rehearsal
hope that I'll be able to get them, because I think, you know, they really are a you know, a great talent, and it's interesting, you know, when you've got that much talent in the family, etc. You know, I have to always, you know, wonder if the egos sort of get in the way sometimes, you know, because you know, if one of them gets too much, you know, notice, the others might feel like, you know, they have to kind of. Then again, you know, any good marriage, the husband always wants the wife to succeed, and vice versa. The wife wants the husband to succeed. So if they really are, and I believe every reason that I have to believe that they're probably very, very, very happy for each other, you know, no matter what they do. So let's get back to you know, the show once again. Can you tell me a little bit more about the playwright, because I don't know that much. You know, you'd said you knew a little bit about her, but where did she come from? Do we know where she went to school, or you know, where she was reared? Any information about her, or no?
I'm not sure off the top of my head where she studied.
Because I was looking, you know, it's Leslie said in the PR release that she's been a big fan of the script, etc. But I was just wondering. Something happened, but we're back.
Yeah.
So I was asking about the playwright. Is it Shari Bohannon?
Correct.
Hooray. If we knew where she might be from.
Yeah, she's based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. All right. So Midwest. Okay. Well, you know, a lot of good stuff comes out of the Midwest. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't know that much about her background. I was just wondering, you know, if you knew anything about any of her earlier work. Is her first play, etc. You know, and
well, she's written several plays. There, excuse me, several new plays, short 1X, full-length plays. If you are interested in seeing more of her work, you can definitely find that on both her website and on her page on the National New Play Network. She has her, or she went to Texas Tech University to get her MFA in playwriting.
Okay.
University of Central Missouri and for her bachelor's, and so she's just, yeah, she's a very prolific playwright, even with her works being relatively new. And like I said before, on top of that, she's a pop culture critic. She hosts 2 podcasts, including a horror podcast. She travels all over reporting on that. So she's just a really dynamic playwright, a really interesting, well-versed person, and all of that comes through in the play.
So you mentioned horror. Is there any aspects in the play that we might, you know, get something unexpected in this particular play?
You won't get any jump scares, but it does, like I said, it's a dark comedy, so it does go to some pretty not so nice places, but you know, that's the nature of the internet. The internet is both a bright and dark place.
Yes, I understand. And again, what do we have coming up after Craigslisted for the NOLA Project?
So after Craigslisted, or actually during Craigslisted, we are having our like annual holiday event. We're calling it a cabaret, and that's going to be on Sunday, December 11th at the NOLA Brewing Company. And that is, it's just an evening of beers and songs and monologues celebrating the holidays for the grown-ups. And it's part of it is part of our fundraising for our end of year campaign.
And where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the NOLA Brewing Company.
Oh, okay. The NOLA Project, the NOLA Brewing Company. Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
So, yeah, right on Chapatoulas.
Right.
Come on through.
And when you get finished, you go over to Tipitina's, I guess, huh?
Right. But yeah, just come on through. I'll be singing. You know, Keith will sing some songs. We're gonna have a bunch of great singers singing some holiday tunes for you all. And then we actually had to switch our third show. Our third show was originally going to be Everybody.
Yes, that was the Everyman.
Yes,
it was
the
Everybody
Everyman adaptation. But we've switched the show, and just keep your eyes on our social channels and everything. We're gonna let you guys know some more information about that. And then we are closing out the season with a Midsummer Night's Dream.
Right.
Which I will be directing. So come on.
Fantastic. All right. All right. You got some big shoes to fill. I'm sure you're going to do that. Okay. Anyway, Brittany Williams, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And again, the NOLA Project's Craigslisted starts up on December the 1st, a special preview show, December the 2nd through the 17th. And every night except on Mondays and Tuesdays, it looks like, and not on Sunday the final week, right? Perfect.
So it runs on Thursday through Saturday, except for the final week when it runs Thursday through Sunday, excuse me, except on the final week when it runs
Wednesday
through Saturday.
Gotcha.
Yes. If you go to buy tickets, you'll see every single date that we have available.
Right.
So
I do appreciate it. All right. Thank you for being with us. I'm gonna let you run because I'm gonna say goodbye and also pass on the remarks again about that Harnick and Bach piece that George Dansker is doing. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, and I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you probably on the 2nd. I hope I can get a ticket to get in that night. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. All right. Again, we've had a full show tonight, and I want to just go over real quick one more time with everybody that George Dansker is having his Jewish Composer Series on Harnick and Bach this coming Friday. It'll be live streamed, and for those of you who want to check it out, go to synagogue.com/live stream. You'll be able to see and hear it all for yourself. You don't have to go out of your way. You can do it in the living room. You can do it off your computer, probably on your phone as well. So there you go. And again, thank you all for being here tonight. We're very fortunate to have had the very lovely Andrea Watson. And Andrea gave me a note just as she had left. She made it just in time for Out Damn Spot. So thank you very much, Andrea. And thank you very much for everybody who was here tonight. Brittany Williams, of course, who just left. And I want to, thank everybody for being so nice and attending and being with me for these shows that we do every Monday night. Again, my name is Alan Smason. This is NOLA Theater Talk. And we broadcast this to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, to also our own theatercriticism.com's Facebook page and my own YouTube channel for all of these that are archived. So you can go check them out. And again, I'll hopefully see you all at the theater. Take care.